And now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite his opponent to the stage at this time, undefeated at 22 wins, no losses with 11 knockouts. He is the WBC Continental America's Super Welterweight Champion from Houston, the Iron Man, Jermell Charlo. And now first to the scale at this time, ladies and gentlemen, once again, here is the challenger from Philadelphia, King Gabriel Rosado. Rosado weighs in at 154 pounds, 154. Operation Top Down Charlo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is the defending champion, the undefeated fighter from Houston, Texas, Jermell Charlo. And Jermell Charlo weighs in at 153 pounds, 153. And we're going to bring our fighters together for a pose down photo opportunity in just a few moments. We want to remind the folks right up front, please stay down. We have a lot of cameras in the back that need a good photo of this.
You can see Gabe Rosado there. 2012 was his best year. He had 3 wins, all of them by knockout. Spent all last year fighting at middleweight. This is a big step up in challenge for Jermell Charlo.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Opens up our Showtime Championship boxing attraction. 10 rounds for the WBC Continental America Super Welterweight Championship. Jermell Charlo, the champion, defends against Gabriel Rosado.
Gabe Rosado and Jermell Charlo, that one, it should be a great fight between those two. Again, at one point, you know, Rosado, #1 contender at 154, and of course now he's back at the weight where he had some of his best fights. So we're going to talk to King Gabriel Rosado here in just a moment. And Rosado talked a lot about getting back and being excited at this weight, a weight where he had some fantastic wins there. Soto Carras, he fought at this weight and won. So Setru Powell. So he's really comfortable at 154, and he's done a lot of great damage there at this weight. And he feels like this is the weight where he thinks that he can have a lot of promise in this upcoming year. And of course, we're going to talk to Gabe Rosado a little bit about that. He trained all in Puerto Rico for this fight because in Philly it was so cold, and he wanted to make sure that he made weight and was in great shape, so he spent the time in Puerto Rico. Gabe Rosado here, getting ready to join us. All right, Gabe, let's talk a little bit about that. That was a pretty intense stare down. You said you named this Chop Down Charlo.
Operation Chop Down Charlo. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
He wanted to make sure that he made weight and was in great shape, so he spent the time in Puerto Rico. Gabe Rosado here, getting ready to join us. All right, Gabe, let's talk a little bit about that. That was a pretty intense stare down. You said you named this Chop Down Charlo.
Operation Chop Down Charlo. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
little bit about that. That was a pretty intense stare down. You said you named this Chop Down Charlo.
Operation Chop Down Charlo. Real talk. You know what I'm saying?
Sure that he. So he spent. Go, Gabe Rosado here, getting ready to join us. All right, Gabe, let's talk a little bit about that. That was a pretty.
Well, no, man, because, you know, my last fight was in October. So I started the camp for this fight 3 weeks after the Quillen fight. So I was already in shape. My weight was good. I went to Puerto Rico. The weather was hot. It was easy to make weight out there. So I was good, man.
All right. How much do you think experience will play into this fight? Because, you know, he's taking a big step up in competition fighting you, but you've been in fights with some big-time guys. How much will experience play out?
Well, you know, experience can't be taught. That's something you got to go through. So I've been through it already, you know, so it's definitely going to play a factor. I'm a young veteran. I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Gabe Rosado, best of luck to you Saturday night. Taking on Jermell Charlo. Going to speak to Jermell here in just a moment. Charlo, of course, undefeated. Him and his brother trying to take over the division.
Taking over the division.
You heard Gabe. He called it Chop Down Charlo and said basically that he was going to take you out. It will not. Basically saying he's going to knock you out. Give me your thoughts.
That's all hype, man. Don't believe it. It's all hype. Operation Chop Down Rosado. Retire Rosado. That's what we're going to name it. Operation Retire Rosado. Yeah. And I want to thank Al Heyman and the crew, and I want to thank Ronnie Shields and everyone for putting this fight on and making it happen. And we're going to get the fans what they want to see.
Well, you know, Gabe obviously coming back down in weight back here to junior middleweight. He feels like he's the bigger fighter, can maybe push you and bully you around and take advantage of that because you have the speed. Give me your thoughts on that.
I'm big. I'm strong. I'm 154. I made it easy. He was sticking all over me right now. He just got out the sauna. So we rehydrate back, have fun tomorrow.
Lastly, this is obviously a big fight for you because if you do win, it sets you up for probably a title fight. Give me your thoughts of going and facing Gabe Rosado.
No thoughts. We're going to handle business tomorrow, man.
Jermell Charlo, best of luck to you. Undefeated. All right, time to introduce, of course, the main event. With that, let's get it over to the Hall of Famer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
All right, fans, here we go. We're ready to bring out our fighters for the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action for the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. First, we invite the challenger up to the stage at this time. He is undefeated at 25 wins, no losses, 17 knockouts. He'll be making the first attempt at a world title. Please welcome the IBF #1 Junior Welterweight World Contender, Vs.Jean. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is his opponent. He is the defending world champion, record of 31-2-1 with 16 knockouts. He'll be making the second defense of his title. Please welcome the IBF Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Lamont Peterson. And now up to the scale, ladies and gentlemen, we invite the challenger. Vs.Jean weighs in at 139 pounds, 139. And now here is his opponent from Washington, D.C., the defending IBF Junior Welterweight Champion of the World, Lamont Peterson. 139.5 pounds for Lamont Peterson, 139.5.
All right, this is going to be a great fight. You know, Vs.Jean was actually born in Haiti, then moved to Canada at a very young age, 31. He's been a pro for about 6 years. Again, he's the #1 ranked mandatory challenger for the IBF here at 140 pounds, and he is a good fighter if you haven't seen him fight. This is going to be a great fight between these two. And you can hear Vs.Jean said he's going to have about 120 people on buses taking a 12-hour bus ride to this fight. This will be just the third time he's fought in the States. Of course, Lamont Peterson, everyone wants to know.
There they are, ladies and gentlemen. It's the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of action for the IBF Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. Lamont Peterson versus Vs.Jean.
Of course, everybody wants to know if Lamont has gotten over that knockout by Lucas Matisse. Of course, Lamont fighting back home in Washington, D.C., where he grew up not too far from here. And it's a great story. This is a guy in his young years as a kid, was homeless, on the streets, really pulling himself up from the bootstraps to become a champion. And, you know, he's been in the lights and had some big fights here in D.C. He's 4-0 when he's fought at home in D.C., 2-0 when he's fought at the D.C. Armory. Of course, some big wins there. Kendall Holt, Amir Khan. So, obviously, Peterson's feeling very good, very confident fighting at home in front of his family and friends. And I think a lot of people want to know, has he gotten over the mental hangover after that loss to Lucas Matisse? Of course, we'll ask him a little bit about that. But right now, let's talk with the #1 contender, Vs.Jean. Now, for those who don't know you and haven't maybe seen you fight, tell them what should they expect out of Vs.Jean Saturday night against Lamont Peterson?
They will see a nice fight from me, you know, and I will show to the world that I'm the best pound for pound.
Now, you know, it's interesting because Lamont talked about, I've been in fights with all kinds of big level people. He hasn't, in his opinion. Give me your thoughts of fighting him in his hometown, Washington, D.C., and here in the States, because you've only really fought in here 3 times.
It doesn't matter, you know, I got a bunch of crowd who follows me, you know, 100 people, so I'm gonna feel like home. So we're gonna go out there and make him remind his last knockout. So I'm gonna knock him out.
Okay, and I was gonna ask you this. You know, obviously, for you, you've probably closed your eyes and dreamed about how this fight's gonna be. Big step up for you here on Showtime. When you closed your eye and you dreamed about this, what has that dream turned out in this fight?
Dream turned out I got the belt on my hands and go back to Montreal with it.
Vs.Jean, of course, the #1 contender, undefeated. Best of luck to you Saturday.
Thank you so much.
All right, appreciate it, Dr. All right, now, time for the IBF Junior Welterweight Champ, of course, from D.C. By the way, it's his birthday.
You know it.
The big 3-0. Happy birthday, champ.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, now you just heard from Dr. He said when he went to sleep and he dreamed about this fight, it was a knockout by 6. Give me your thoughts.
Keyword, dream. We all entitled to dreams, so he gonna have to show me tomorrow.
I talked a little bit about this. 4-0 fighting in D.C. Basically 2-0 when you fought. You fought. Had some big wins at the Armory. What does it mean to you to fight in your hometown in Washington D.C.?
It's a great feeling. You know, the crowd is gonna be cheering for me. You know, my friends, my family, they come out and support, and I love them for that. And I want to go out there and put on a great performance for them.
Now, you heard Dr. just allude to that, and I know there are a lot of people going to think, has he gotten over from the Matisse knockout? Has Lamont Peterson gotten over that?
Man, nobody worried about that, man. I'm ready to fight tomorrow, man. That's all we worried about. I'm ready to fight right now, really. So at this point, you know, who cares about what they say? I'm going to show you tomorrow what I'm about.
Well, before we get to the fight, we got to wish you a happy birthday. So you are 30. You know what I mean? You are 30, so we got a little cake for you, champ.
Happy birthday, Lamont, from Golden
How about that?
Showtime Sports. Good luck on your
I
fight tomorrow,
appreciate
man.
it.
Happy birthday to you.
All right.
And because you may wait, don't eat any of that yet. Wait till after the fight.
After the fight, I'm going to get into this one.
Happy birthday.
All right,
Best of luck to you Saturday night. There he is, the IBF Junior Welterweight Champion, Lamont Peterson, taking on Vs.Jean in our main event. It is going to be a great fight. Champ, best of luck to you. Again, all of this comes your way Saturday night here on Showtime Championship Boxing, 9 o'clock Eastern. And, of course, it all kicks off a Showtime Extreme at 7 o'clock. So you make sure you want to be there for that. Again, Jermell Charlo taking on Gabriel Rosado. That's the co-main event. That comes your way before the big main event before Peterson and John. We also want to remind you, coming your way on March 8th, it is the return of Canelo Alvarez. He is going to be taking on Alfredo Angulo. You got two guys who love to come forward